everyone, this is Jessica Bradley Rushing and I am here with a recap of the Board of Selectmen's meeting from Tuesday, January 14th, 2020. I want to start off by actually apologizing because I missed doing recaps for the last two meetings in December of 2019. I was just kind of super busy last month and just did not manage to get it together to get the recaps done, but it is January and I am back on track. So here we go with a recap from tonight's meeting. Our first agenda item was a scheduled appointment with the advisory committee to vote on the recommendation of a joint appointment of a member to fill a vacancy on that committee, and the person who we approved to sit on the vacant spot on advisory was Matthew Rushing, who I'm sure most of you know is my husband. I recused myself from that vote in order to avoid any conflict of interest, but I will say I think he's going to do a great job. The next thing that we did was had a presentation from the town manager, Ed Thorne, regarding the fiscal year 21 solid waste budget. So what came of that discussion was some very important information. Right now, the three biggest items in the solid waste budget are our solid waste disposal, our curbside pickup expenses, and our recycling disposal. Those amounts, which are the three largest line items in the budget, are all increasing. A big factor in why those are increasing is because the cost of recycling has gone up. So those costs are being passed on to the town and through the town to the consumer. So right now, the annual cost of trash pickup in the town of Pembroke is about exactly $280 per household per year. Those rates have not gone up in several years and actually went down a few years ago. But because of the increased costs for recycling and basically for moving the recycling, those solid waste rates are probably going to go up in fiscal year 21. There's not an exact amount yet, but they could go up between $20 to $50 per household across the town. This is not something that we can really control because while our contract with the waste management company that we use has expired, we could get out of the contract right now without any penalties. There aren't better rates being offered by any other companies, and that was looked into to ensure that we're getting the best rate possible. Unfortunately, the cost of recycling has just gone up. One thing that we can do to decrease these costs is promote sustainability as a better option. So use less paper, use less cardboard, all of those things that I'm sure a lot of people are trying to do in their daily lives anyway. But that was the outcome of that discussion for the fiscal year 21 solid waste budget, is that rates are probably going to go up, but they will not be going up dramatically. Next, we voted to open the annual town meeting warrant, which will be effective on January 27th, 2020. So that is 13 days from today. The warrant will be open, and that will stay open until February 7th, 2020. During that time period, you are able to submit articles to be included on the warrant for the town meeting vote. Then we voted to approve the minutes of January 7th, 2020. We had nothing under old business, but we did have a town administrator report. The town manager report. The town manager reported that we have submitted an application to OCPC requesting a traffic study in the center of town in order to determine how a new community center could potentially impact traffic there. We also learned that the Pilgrim Area Collaborative, which was using the Hatch building in the center of town, actually moved out of that facility, so that facility is vacant. So we need to, going forward, look for a way to make that facility useful to the town. There are some restrictions on what that building can be used for because it is an Department of Education building, so we need to just have a look at what could be done, what needs to be done, and see how we can better use that building in order to serve the town. Then we talked about, there's going to be a meeting with the Board of Selectmen and the School Department coming up in February about the fiscal year 21 budget. And then also under new business, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Bill Bolter, reported that the Fisheries Commission report came out. There was a lot of work done clearing the ponds, etc., and that they will be holding their second annual Fisheries Festival on April 26th this year at the Lucky Dog in the new building up behind Lucky Dog, sort of up in the trees. There was a question actually submitted by Linda Peterson, who was there from advisory, about Pembroke receiving Chapter 90 state funding, which is funding for transportation and road improvements. There was a report in the Patriot Ledger recently, just last week I think, that several towns on the South Shore had received additional Chapter 90 funding, but Pembroke wasn't listed. So at the meeting, we weren't really sure what the answer to that was, why Pembroke wouldn't have received that funding. And the town manager said he believed we had received funding. So I went and looked it up, and actually what it was that the initial funding given to municipalities by the state was done last summer. Pembroke received $565,000 at that time. This new round was a supplemental budget that was just signed into law in January that only gave money, some additional money to another dozen towns across the state. So Pembroke did not get skipped on Chapter 90 funding. We did get it. We just didn't get additional money in this second round of the supplemental budget where only a couple towns were allocated money. Then we went into executive session, where we discussed the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of property in town located at 660 Washington Street. So we had an executive session discussion, and we came back to open session to vote to put out an RFP for the sale of property at 660 Washington Street. The property is currently zoned residential commercial. It is a 17.89 acre lot. And we will have an RFP going out on the Central Register as of tomorrow. It'll be advertised in the newspaper in February. Bids will open February 24th and awarded on March 3rd. The required minimum bid will be $2.59 million and a required 5% deposit with any bid. Any money that the town receives through the sale of that property will be allocated to the capital fund. So a minimum of $2.59 million with the sale of that property, and that will be specifically earmarked to go to capital fund. That was our whole meeting tonight. We have lots of stuff coming up, including town meeting things, so please stay tuned, and if you have any questions, as always, please feel free to reach out. Thanks so much. Good night.